Hello and welcome to Let's Play Chess Titans Level 10. I know it's been a long time since the last video in this series, but that has been because I have been having troubles with audio-video sync trying to make this one. I have attempted it a few times by now, and the audio just kind of gradually gets ahead of the video as it goes on, so I'm trying again, with a few settings different. Also of note, I might be editing this one in Movie Maker later because as you can see, it takes a long time on my computer for it to move on level 10. Excuse me. I'm not sure if this is something specific to my computer. I think that I've seen it on some other people's videos. But I've also seen other people's videos where the computer moves quickly, so we'll see how that goes. Okay, so e4, e5, knight f3. Is this going to be a standard Ruy Lopez, also known as the Spanish game? He would have an idea of bringing his knight out here. I would bring my bishop out. We'd be fighting for the center. He'd probably kick the bishop back as per usual. Oh, I hear that my fan is starting to heat up, so it must be thinking. Which is kind of pathetic considering how this is book. So, I'll be wanting to castle kingside most likely, trying to push up for a strong. He'll try and get his bishop out on this diagonal if I let him. I want to castle, maybe get a rook to the e file, depending on what he does, try and control f5 with a knight someday. With something like Dune, 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 or d2 to f1 to g3. But for now, we're waiting on the move. So, it's likely to be either d6, a6, maybe knight f6 even. And I think that I've sometimes seen bishop to c5. Okay, so pushing the bishop back as expected. Sometimes an early b5 is played. I just move the bishop back. If he moves the knight out, I'm just going to castle. If he takes that pawn, then I get to move my rook here. And these guys would be on that pawn and on the same file as his king. And that would be good for me. Okay, so like I was talking about. So now I'll just castle. And computers do often take the extra material, though in this case it wouldn't win a pawn because I could just take. Then he'd take and I'd take here, and it's still quite the comfortable position for me. So now here I'm expecting either d6 or possibly b5. Followed by d6, perhaps. Okay. So, let's see, what do I want to do here? The bishop is now blocking off that file, so it's not as profitable for me to get the rook there. So, let's see, what do we want to do? I think we want to get the rook on the e file. I know that I just said that it's less profitable to do so now, but it also clears way for that eventual knight reroute. I know that he's not going to be playing any variations where he plays g6, So f5 control should be a major point for me. Looking to get in c3, d4, possibly. Might want to play h3 if he plays d6, just to get that bishop pin out of the question. Now I am threatening to win his pawn, so d6 is highly likely, I believe. Unless he wants to gambit that pawn, maybe a bit, what is it, martial attack-esque. Okay, he played d6. So let's not allow that pin. And we are looking to get in c3, d4 now, I believe. Wonder if I could get d... No, I don't want to get d4 off the bat, because I could do that, and that would open it up while his king is still in the center. But I just think that having the strong pawn center is a bit more thematic. Even though the more I look at it, the more that I do like a d4 push soon. But if I do go with the original plan, I can get my bishop back to c2, and that would indirectly support, or directly but behind the pawn, can x-ray, that's the word I'm looking for. It would get some x-ray protection of f5. So now if he castles, I might go ahead with c3. He might play a knight a5. That's something to look at, though keep in mind that if I wanted to look at it earlier, it would have had to have been much earlier. Okay, so he's played his bishop to d7. So now the question is, do I want to play c3 or d4 right away? I think I want to play c3. If he attacks the bishop, I can bring it back, lending more support to this diagonal. And if he does not, then it still allows for my d4 push with support in the center. Indeed. Something to also consider is that if he does castle, it holds back his f5, f pawn, f7 pawn, I was going to say f5 pawn. It holds it back from playing f5 in the immediate future. He could block with his bishop, I suppose, but that's just another reason why if he castles, I get in d4, I have a comfortable position, because I can easily block that off, and if he hasn't moved the knight, win a piece. Okay, so d4 now, I believe, is the correct move. Opening up my bishop, attacking the center. If takes takes, then there's more options with my knight. I'm preventing bishop e6, which would either force a trade-off of bishops or me retreating and pressure on a2. And then he has some control. And because if I took, it would open up the f-file for him and give more control to the f5 square, so we'd be fighting over it. Opens up my bishop for potential attacks on the king side, which I believe I already mentioned, and is just in general fine for me. Nice, handy-dandy little move. So where is he going to move next? He might move his knight here eventually. Okay, he took. Now, I have been led to believe that taking on d4 as black might not be the best. though I remain uncertain. Perhaps a bit odd is that he played this b5 without getting his bishop on this diagonal, the a8 to h1 diagonal, meaning that this could be weaknesses over here. If I could, through some strange series of events, get a bishop on b7 myself, it would win a pawn, though. And then rook here might trap it. Rook to b6, that is. But that would be long off and far away. If he moves his rook to e8, then I might just go ahead and play knight to g5, forcing him to move it back. Then maybe I could push. Okay. So he might want his knight over on c4 and maybe get a push over there. This would also clear up his bishop to go here. I'm not sure if I want that, you know? Okay, so what to do here? What to do here, indeed. Well, let's bring the bishop back. If he does push c5 or something, then I do have d5. And then I'd be controlling his e6 square, his f5 square, my g4 square. This knight still doesn't really have any options. He might try moving his knight over to c4 himself. But then I think that I'm fine just playing b3 and fianchettoing my bishop along this a1, h8 diagonal. And then maybe facilitating just a d5 right there, opening up the diagonals. If he takes and I take, then I'd have two diagonals pointing right at his king. So yeah, knight c4, I think I just push it away with b3. Okay, that's a bit of an odd move. Well, I don't see the harm in just playing knight to d2 now. I'm continuing with that plan of getting it controlling f5. Also to consider, I might want to play e5 myself and kick his knight away at some point. Because his knight is being a crucial defender of h7, which my bishop would be hitting after an e5 push. In fact, if I had played something like queen d3, which I don't think would be the best move, especially because he has something like, I don't know, bishop b5. Just me to move it back. Okay, so he's hitting this now. Not really something I'm worried about, though. But I could have even played something like queen d3, and if he didn't do something, then I'd be threatening with e5. Then after he moves his knight, I would have checkmate. But that wouldn't really be a great move, considering the circumstances. So in summary, I think that the current position is completely advantageous for me. I do have this undeveloped rook, but I also have a really good e-file rook. And all that hullabaloo. This pawn could potentially become a target, I suppose. His pawn center isn't really all that mobile compared to my great pawn center. Okay, so now I don't have that knight g5 that I was wanting. And now he does have bishop f8 pulling back to defend. And he could also be defending against potential e5s after he moves the bishop. So do I want to go ahead and play e5 now? Probably not. It would clear off this diagonal for his bishop. And I want to maintain this good pawn center. Could go ahead and play knight g3 like I was planning, which does look decent from here. So I'll go ahead and do that. Maybe queen d3 would become a credible threat in the future. Like, if this rook moved, then I think I could play queen d3 maybe, and get away with winning a pawn. Or else he'd lose his knight to the thing that I mentioned earlier with e5 and checkmate on h7. Problem is, right now, e5 is covered decently enough. Well, let's see, if he moves the bishop back, I played e5. Takes. Yeah, it's still adequately defended. Now, this move I'm not sure of by him. This queen c8. Not sure indeed. Well, let's think for a second. I think I might want to get my rook on c1 in a bit after this bishop moves. It does give him some control of f5. Will that be important, though? It also does guard this pawn, though that's not really a huge issue at the moment. Perhaps I could play my bishop up here, since it doesn't look like it'll have a whole lot better to do. But then after takes, well, I'd still like to get his dark square bishop off, and if he does play h6 to kick it away, it's weakening his king side. So he kicks it away. I probably don't take, because I don't want to give him even more protection from the e5 push. Although, let's see. He does that, I take, he takes, I push, he takes, I take, he takes, Yeah, I don't think it works. It might be worth a bit more calculation, though, if he does play h6. Okay, he's played h6. So if I take, he takes, then I play here. He would take, I would take. He takes with, I don't know, the knight. I take with the knight, he takes with the bishop. I play here, attacking the bishop. He just... I'm not sure. Okay, so bishop takes knight, bishop takes bishop, e5, pawn takes pawn, pawn takes pawn, knight takes pawn, knight takes knight, bishop takes knight. And I'm not really seeing a great continuation, so if we go back this way, he can trap me. However, I might get some pressure after getting the two pawns, but I think not for now. But I do think that I want to take out that knight after all. Then just play rook to c1, like I was talking about. I don't need to push e5 anyway. Maybe I could even get this bishop back on this diagonal. And then, perhaps e5 is a credible threat. Or perhaps not. I would really like it to work, but probably won't. So I do want to watch out for this pawn. And I also might want to be careful about letting him get his bishop here. Hitting that rook now. I still think that I'm in a fine position, though. So, let's see. Let us see. Indeed. Okay. Do I have maybe tactics with bishop to a4 at some point? Bishop to a4, I'm threatening to win the knight. He can't protect the knight with the queen. Or else I believe I can just... No, if I play there, then he plays here, and he should be fine. Yeah, he should be fine. Maybe I could play queen d3 like I was talking about earlier. He doesn't have any clever bishop defenses anymore. And now that my knight is on g3, I don't remember if it was earlier, if he did play bishop here to block. Then that couldn't run into any problems, I don't believe. So we play here. What does he do? Maybe he moves the bishop away, maybe he plays g6. Either way, I like that for me. So we will try it. He also doesn't really have any squares for this knight now. They're blocked off by his own pawns, and he only has retreating moves available for it. You know, I might wish to, even though it would be wasting a previous move, get my rook over here on this file, then play that push, because then I'd be threatening after takes his bishop. Okay, so if I play that, and he takes, and I take, and he takes, I take, then I think after queen here, king here, queen here, king here, I'd have taking with the rook. This looks good. I probably should have given a bit more calculation before jumping into it, but I don't know, it just looks good to me. So we can't retreat the bishop. We know that much. If he retreats it, or well, I suppose he could retreat it to back here, maybe. Okay, so, as expected, so I think that after knight takes, he might have to take with the rook. knight takes, rook takes. Then queen here, he moves, queen trade. I'm wanting to maybe get this rook over to the e file after trades. Then maybe something like f4 with a pin on the king would be good. So if he takes with the bishop, then I just have queen h7, queen h8, rook takes e5 with check. Then after the king moves, I can take this rook and get my queen out of there. He takes with the rook, I take with the rook, he takes with the bishop. He takes with the bishop, then if I just play rook there, it is threatening the bishop. And that same tactic from earlier, if he tries to do it. And then it would be threatening if he moves it off of there. It would be threatening the mate because the rook would be covering the e file. So I think here, rook e1, he might have to play something like, I don't know, f6, but if he has to play f6, he's in a sorry state indeed. He would be in a sorry state indeed. Then I could play queen h7 again. He'd have to play f8, perhaps. I don't know. I mean, it just seems like there should be something there. Like maybe with knight h5 at some point or something. At any rate, I'm on the bishop. If he guards it with something like the queen here, then I can just do that tactic again. Actually, I wonder if he had blocking after that, but now that I still get 2 pieces for a rook. And then I think that I would have been picking up this pawn too, and etc. He can't take the knight because of the checkmate threat. Okay, so he's had to play there, so if I give him check, he moves. He'd have to move here, actually, maybe. Because then I play here. He'd have to play his queen over to defend. If he plays his queen here, then I have, I don't know, the check here. He has to move here. I take his queen. He takes my queen. Then I play that f4. In fact, do I have... Okay, so if he goes there, then he does have to go here, because if I play that, then he goes here, da-da-da, I'm still threatening to win that bishop. So he goes to f8, and then I play the bishop to there anyway, maybe? No, then I play the knight up. He goes to f8, I play the knight up, things look good. I'm reasonably certain that this wins a piece. If not just the game outright. If I can just get his king on this e-file and play f4, I should be set. So if he plays king, f8, I play knight to h5. I am threatening his g7. And there's not really a whole lot that he can do about it that I can see. Okay, so now if I play here, and now we're looking for f4. If he lets me trade queens first, even better. Actually, I wonder if taking here on g7 might be better than winning the piece right away. Because let's see, say he plays king f8, then I go up, he goes down, I take, he has to go here. Well, or here, but I think here might be better. Then I'd give him the check. Then I'd pick up this bishop. I don't know, but there should be some tactics in my favor here. Okay, so f4 right away. The bishop is still pinned, so is there a good reason not to take here with the queen first? Then he comes here and I take, and he takes, and then he's on my bishop. Perhaps. So maybe we should let that lie. But he comes here with the queen, and I just move here, taking this additional pawn. I think that this should be okay. And now I think I am also actually threatening bishop over here to f5 with check, then the rook check, then taking here. Because I have so many pieces there. Yeah, in fact I am threatening that right now. Okay, so he moves his king onto the d file, then I think I am just still threatening moving here. He'll have to move away, then I'd come back with check with the bishop, and I'm winning this one. Find a good move and look for a better one, as they say. So while you guys contemplate that, I think I'm going to go get a drink of water. Okay, I am back. It appears that he has played c5. So now then, the question is, do I want to play f4 or go in to win this bishop? Well, now if I do this check, then he moves, and I check, he can block with the bishop. So that might be out. Move here, threatening checkmate, and he probably just takes my knight. I could grab another pawn, perhaps. come over here, threatening mate, and that tactic again. He takes the knight. I come here with check. He moves down. Come here. He would have to move here to f4. And I could come here with checkmate, maybe? Okay, let's run through this again. Rook d1, bishop takes g3, queen f7 check, king e5, queen d5 check, king f4. Then if I come here with my queen, he takes with the bishop, okay. But is there anything else? King f4. King f4. Queen here, check. Then he moves here. Then if I do that, he just takes with the bishop. I moved here. Or wait, okay, I've confused myself now. So if I move my queen here, he moves here. Then I move the rook up, he blocks with the pawn, probably. I don't know, let's just play f4. It's winning a piece, it must be good. Winning a piece is often good. And he can't move his queen here, actually, I think, because of that aforementioned tactic. Or I'd play bishop here, then I'd just play queen takes here. Okay. So we'll just wait for him to move. Okay, so he's wanting to protect the e5 square after the taking and pawn taking because my queen and rook would have been on it. So now I'll take here, and if he takes with the pawn, I think that I win this bishop too. And I am threatening, of course, this f6 square as well. So if he takes with the pawn, then bishop f5, rook d1, and we'll pick up some material here on d7. Or let's see if I play that and he plays here. Could I take here? Then he moves his king here, then check, then he moves his king here. Okay, probably not. Probably not. Let's just win the bishop. Knight covers the bishop. So the king can't take, then the king will be in check, then I'll be taking this bishop off. Just all around good times for Team White. Might even be able to force a queen trade, just go into the endgame 2 pieces up. Admittedly, for a couple pawns. Or 1 pawn. One of which passed, but... Okay, let's get you out of the way. So now we can go clip, clip to the bishop. And in fact, this bishop is pinned as long as this queen is undefended. So let's see, I will likely want to take that bishop with the rook or the queen. Depending on where he moves his king. Perhaps. This thing came with a resign button. Okay, so now, what do we have? If I take with the rook, he moves his queen somewhere. If I take with the bishop, no, probably not best. Probably not best. I think I'll take with the rook. Gives me lots of that 7th rank pressure. Maybe even an opportunity to take on e5. Get queen d6. Bishop over here. And just some fun stuff leading to checkmates. If he moved his queen back, then I think that I might have something like queen f6, then the king moves, and then I'd play like bishop d3, maybe. Okay, so now I could win his queen. For my rook and bishop. Or I could give check. Then they'll move, what, probably here. Okay, so if I move here, he takes, I take, he takes. I think I like just taking here for now. And the rook. Then, I take, he takes, and I fork his rook and his king. And I am now threatening rook d6, winning the queen for the bishop, and probably a mate soon. Probably a mate soon. I would really like to get a checkmate because the computer does not speed up for the endgame on Chess Titans. And this is already going to be a rather long video. So let's just see what happens. He's probably not going to want queen. Okay, exactly as planned. So now if I move here, I think, so I play queen over here, queen d5, and he can move either here or here. He moves here, and I check. He comes back, and I can pick off this pawn too. There's got to be a mate just around the corner. I just know it. Anything else would simply be unfair. Okay, so guess I'll throw in a little test that I can just jump right to see if the audio is off at this point. I am putting my mouse on the bishop now, and now, and now. Okay, except so now if I just move my rook here, then he'll move up maybe, and I can grab this pawn, and well, I get a pawn at least. If he moves up here, then it's just checkmate. If he takes with the queen, then this game will be dragged out even further. Think that he might have to take with the queen in order to avoid mate. Because if he moves here, it's checkmate. If he moves here, then it's check. He moves here, then like check, checkmate. He moves here, then I check with the bishop. He moves back, I take. He blocks, I take with checkmate. So yeah, I think that giving up the queen for the rook is forced here. So if he moves down, then I'm disappointed in him as a computer. Because then that just lets me get my bishop into the game. And I could even just take and pick off his rook. Or the timely queen c6 check after he recaptures the bishop. They really need a resign button for computers. They really need a resign button. He moves his king here, which he won't. I'm pretty sure that bishop b7 would be good. Okay. So I'm pretty sure that I can win his rook by force if I want. I would really like to finish this quickly though, for the video's sake. We're already at 2,910 seconds. Okay, so let's see if he blocks with the pawn and I brought the queen down. That would be hitting his rook. He'd probably move the king up here. Take. He'd move his rook somewhere. He moves this down and I move my knight up. I don't know, I just want this game to end. I would just like this game to end. Takes check. Moves back. Then check. Or no, because my queen would be there. I don't know, I mean, it looks good. I think that getting more pieces involved was better for me than grabbing his rook. So if he takes and I give check and he moves up and I give check, he moves up, I move here, threatening some mating stuff. With like a queen, a6, queen, b7 mate. He takes, check, check, moves down. And I'm not sure. Okay, so give a check, he moves here. Give a check, he moves here. Maybe if he does that, I just take his rook and swing the queen back. And come in for a mate again. If he goes up, or if I check him and he goes up and I bring the knight here and he blocks with the rook, or bring the knight here, sorry, and he tries to block b7 with the rook, then he'd also be blocking b8 as an escape square, so I'd have mate. Okay, so check. He moves down, and I think that I just take the... With check, he'd come like here or here, and then I'd come back, I guess. Then find a fast way to get checkmate with just my queen and knight. So if he moves up, I think that knight c5 is forced checkmate. If he moves down, and if he moves down, I just take the rook, then come back. Maybe get something like knight d2 to c4. See, there's two legal moves, one of which leads to a forced mate. And the computer still has trouble deciding between them in a timely manner. Okay, I'm pretty sure this is forced mate. Okay, so cool. That was me against Chess Titans level 10. As I said, I've tried recording this video a few times. I hope that it's worked this time. Thank you for watching. Tune in next time for the final showdown against Chess Titans level 10 as Black.